So, you know what? I need some confirmation that can they hear me?
Hear you loud and clear.
Okay, cool. So, guys, 14 to 21 Toyota Tundra. This happens to be a T-style LITE. And for those of you that are not very familiar with the LITE, the T-style LITE is a 12-inch, 12.1-inch screen. And if you're not familiar with the pricing on this one, I would recommend that you do because it's affordable. You know, it's for the people who wants just a big screen, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. It's got the YouTube, Netflix capability already on there. The only thing that you are not going to be able to do with this one is get into the Play Store so that you could download additional applications. But as far as the large screen format with videos through YouTube, with videos through Netflix, it's all here. Big screen for CarPlay and Android Auto. But the beauty is it's an affordable option. I mean, you could probably do something like this at about $1,000 to $1,100 retail. And so for you guys that aren't familiar with it, the model number is LT or LITE TYPU 12-1RR-4C. If the camera can focus on that. I know it's trying to capture my face. But if you guys aren't familiar with this application, I would highly recommend that you look into it because, again, you know, you get those people that are like, I want a big screen, but, you know, the pricing and stuff like that. So ultimately, this is going to take place of this factory. What is this, a 6.8 in here? Factory 6.8-inch screen. And in this particular truck, I mean, you could be in and out of here in an hour. You could be in and out of here in an hour. No dash kit to worry about. No steering wheel control retention module to worry about. No factory backup camera retention to worry about. So I'm telling you, it's all in one kit. And if you know the Tundras or if you know Toyotas, they switched their power plugs in 2020. So inside the kit, you're going to get, obviously, you're going to receive the radio side. This is the radio side. Main power plug to the radio here. You're going to get 2 sets of harnesses. This is for the 19 and below. Sorry, this is for the 20, 21, and this is for the 19 and below. So you guys are all familiar with the 6 and 10 pin power plugs. This is for those applications. This is for the 19 and below. This is for the 20, 21 body style. Only because they did switch their power plug and they did switch the speaker plug to their new style plug. In this particular model, this happens to be a 2017 Toyota Tundra. So we're not going to be using this new one. We're going to be using the one that Toyota has had since 1988, which is the 10 and 6 pin power plug to the car. You guys are all familiar with this harness. And then this is the plug to the back of the radio right over here. And this is the plug to the CAN box. This is what's going to make all the magic happen. So I'm going to disregard the 20 to 21 power harness. I'm going to keep the one that's for the 19 and below. And you're also going to receive 2 different type of USB, factory USB retention cables. And they're labeled 2020 and up Tundra. And this would be for the 19 and below models. So factory USB retention so that they can continue to charge. You're going to use, in this case, we're not going to use the 2020 to 21. We're going to use the 19 and below. So I'm going to disregard the other one. There is two USB extension cables. You'll notice that one of them is labeled phone link, USB phone link. This is for wired CarPlay and wired Android Auto. Can do wireless, both CarPlay and Android Auto. So what you're gonna do with this factory USB retention cable and these two USB extensions, you're gonna grab the one that does not have the phone link. So I'm gonna grab the one that has the phone link label on it and put that to the side and show you what you're gonna do with the other one. So the other one is going to accept the USB retention cable. Ultimately, this is going to end up into the back of the radio. And they look the same as far as the plugs on the back of the radio, but they're not. This happens to be a 6-pin plug. The other one is a 4-pin plug. So that's what you're going to do with this. And then just for preventive measures so that it doesn't come undone, we're going to put a little bit of tape on it right over here. You know what I can't see, John, is the camera behind me. Okay, yeah, only because I'm already working with the wiring and I'm having to use the one in front of me to kind of show this. Okay, cool. So let me go to this one here. So this is the factory USB retention pigtail. This goes to the car. This goes to the back of the radio. Like I was explaining to you guys, here is the extension cable that's going to come from factory plug into the radio. We were just talking about the two different harnesses that are included with the kit. There are some wires coming off the main power plug. 99.9% of the time, you're not going to use them because, you know, it's SWC 1 and 2, which steering wheel controls. You're not hardwiring. They're all part of the CAN bus module. I do have this one, which is orange with the black stripe, labeled antenna power. You guys all know that Toyota uses a powered antenna, powered AM/FM antenna. So we're going to end up mating those two right here like this. So this is me just showing you what's going on, what's going to be going on behind the radio. But I'm just showing you, you know, what's happening here before. Now, another thing to pay attention to is there is a factory USB plug on this dash. If you notice, one of these harnesses has RCAs, male RCAs, labeled aux in left, aux in right. And there is another harness that has your preamp outputs, front, rear, subwoofer out. It has your front camera input. It also has your microphone plug. Well, on this harness, you also have your auxiliary input left and right. So auxiliary input left and right. This is so that you could maintain function of the factory auxiliary audio input that's right below the dash. So you'll still be able to charge through the USB port and you'll still have the factory auxiliary audio input enabled. Everything else on this harness, I mean, if you're not adding amplifiers, you're not going to need your front, rear, and sub out. This is where your remote turn on wire is. It's labeled amp EN. And just for future reference, guys, because we get calls about, hey, where's your remote turn on lead? You know, I don't see one that says remote turn on. Well, it's labeled amp EN. So that's what you want to use. It's labeled amp EN, one more time. And it's in the lights, in the T styles, in the XLs, in all of our different Gen 4, 5, 6 radios. It's labeled amp for amplifier, short for amplifier. EN, I want to call it entertainment. I just don't know why the EN is, or amp enabled, but it's labeled amp EN. Show you that. Okay. There it is. Labeled amp EN. So that's what's going to happen behind the scenes. All of the additional wires This would be your Wi-Fi antenna plug. It has your reverse camera input. And this right here is your AC climate controls. One side of this climate control harness is gonna go into the CAN box. Gonna go into the CAN box. The other side of the CAN box is gonna go to the main harness. Main harness right here. So this is what your CAN box is gonna look like. That's there. Here. And everything is labeled, you guys. It's all plug and play. You're not cutting or splicing a single wire to go from the factory radio to the T-style LITE. Here is this plug says to radio. There's a plug on the back of our new radio. This one here says emergency light. If you don't plug this plug, beware, you're gonna have an airbag light in the instrument cluster. So this says emergency light here, and there is a mating connector on the main harness, also labeled emergency light, except for because it carries power, it has a dummy connector on it that you're gonna need to remove before you can make these two together. So keep that in mind. If you don't connect these two, you're gonna have a airbag light indicator inside of the instrument cluster. Other than that, I mean, I think we're ready to go to take the radio out of this truck. I mean, it's fairly simple. I've already started unscrewing the handle over here. So you're basically just going to unscrew this part, and I'll put that off to the side. Open up the armrest, and then you're gonna lift up on here. You're gonna lift up on the center console, just like this. So this is going to pop right out. Once this is out, right here. So once that's out, the power outlets, auxiliary inputs down here, this panel, open up both of the power outlets. Use your thumbs, stick them in there. Don't worry, you're not gonna get shocked. Stick them in there, and I usually just pull on that piece with my hands. Pops right out. The AC climate control, just reach in from behind and pop those out just like this. I would say be careful with this shift handle here. If you could get a rag, put one on there just to keep any of these panels from scratching or any of the new radio from scratching. If it makes it easier for you, grab a pick tool, remove the lock door so that we could remove the cover, the lock, so that you can move the shift handle back some more. Don't lose this. Put it in a safe spot, door pocket. And then you have two 10 millimeters on this side to 10 millimeters on this side. I happen to use an extension only because just easier for me to reach. So 4 10 millimeter bolts being factory radio in place. Save 2 of those because you're going to use 2 of them to mount the new radio in place. Here are all your plugs. Factory antenna. Look, non-factory amplified. It doesn't have the power lead on it. And the rest of these harnesses, they just loop one side to the other. So those could stay out. So now the only 2 antennas that you're mounting is Wi-Fi and GPS. This happens to have plenty of room here directly below the center channel. And since, yep, we'll leave that center channel intact. Plenty of room right back here. Find yourself, man, I can fit a possum in here. Plenty of room. So let me grab something to wipe the surface down. And remember, the Wi-Fi antenna is just between the radio and your phone. Like this doesn't necessarily have to be super exposed on top of the dash. It could just be back here. Doesn't need access or signal from the outside world. Wi-Fi, GPS antenna. As long as you're below plastic, no metal subframe, anything like that. And here, plenty of room back here. Just pick a spot. You're good. So then all of our excess. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to plug in factory USB. So I'm telling you, with these T-style lights, I mean, they're affordable. They have a large screen format, video, YouTube, Netflix. Okay. So then the other one we're going to plug in now is the main power plug. So it has our auxiliary input cable already plugged in, and just tape up those connections. I kind of cheated a little bit. My microphone is already mounted, and the microphone wire is already down here. So right after this, I'm gonna bring that one up. Let's not be lazy, guys. I like to remove the plastic panel, and run the microphone wire down to where the factory wiring comes. Otherwise, that microphone wire is going to be in the airbag's way. So off the main harness, auxiliary input to our auxiliary cable. If this was an amplified antenna, then we would be using this amplified cable. Still going to leave it plugged in, even though once you make these two, if you look at the factory side, it doesn't have the amplifier on it. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the 10 and 6-pin ports. Plug labeled emergency. I'm going to remove the dummy, which is this one here. Put that off to the side. I'm going to plug in my emergency plug over here. If you don't connect these, you're going to get a airbag light. And remember, there is the plug that we disconnected from the factory climate control panel. There's a plug labeled to climate. That's where that's going to go. Okay. And so everything else that's left is these three plugs. To radio, to the back of the radio, and the main power plug. And then these two right here are for the steering wheel control and backup camera retention plugs. And so here we have factory backup camera labeled reverse camera input, yellow RCA coming off one of these harnesses is the reverse camera out. We'll go in there. We'll tape this up. Wi-Fi antenna plug is on this harness. So let me find that one. Wi-Fi antenna plug is on the backup camera retention harness, and then the GPS antenna plug is on the radio's chassis. And then GPS is on the radio's chassis. So right after that, only thing left is plugs directly into the radio. Let me grab the microphone. I already have it under here. And what I like to do to bring this up into the dash, I put a long zip tie on it so I could just kind of fish it up. You crawl down here. Okay, so we could now start plugging in our connectors. Now, make sure you give yourself enough slack like this because, you know, the plugs are on the bottom of the radio. So make sure you give yourself enough slack to be able to reach down here, AM, FM, GPS, all your auxiliary plugs, and the main power plug. So I'm going to start with the radio upside down and start plugging these things in. The one I plug in last is usually the main power speaker plug into the back of the radio. And don't forget the one labeled to radio, there's a plug right over here. Not into these plugs, but the one labeled to radio on the main harness is right in here. GPS. There is a multicam power harness coming off this main plug. You're not going to be using it, so don't worry about that one. And so before I did this, I should have taken the plastic locking clips from the factory panel and put them on here. But you also want to remove these two blanks. These two blanks, one on this side, one on this side, because that's where the bolts that are gonna hold, see these brackets right here, they're gonna go into where and line up where the factory radio mounts. So you're gonna go from here all the way through into this bracket, and that's what's gonna hold this radio in place, in addition to the 4 clips. So let me pop those out right now. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this down for now, just like this. And I have 2 of the 4 clips that are neat here from the factory radio. Just slide them in there. Here's one. Here's the other one. Let me grab the other 2. And so we'll also tell you what other vehicles the T-Style LITE is available for, because I know they're available for Mustangs, Rangers, F-150s. So in the process of sliding these harnesses back in place, remember, these are the brackets that are going to line up to where the factory radio mounts, which is this one of them is right there. The other one is on this side. So these brackets are going to line up with that. So in the process of stuffing this back into place, make sure that none of the wires end up between the bracket and that mounting hole right there. So that way, when you stick your 10 in there, they don't get caught. So let's do that here. So this is one of my favorite parts about Toyotas. I mean, they're easy to take apart, easy to work with. You know, you still have to be careful with them to make sure you don't scratch anything. Make sure the truck doesn't roll. But for the most part, they're very forgiving. So let me put my hand in front of the screen. Find a good spot for all of my harnesses. Make sure there's no wires. Right now I could reach all the way to the back where the bracket is to make sure that there's nothing in the way, and then just kind of work it in there. All right, so right now that we've got this sort of into place, before locking it in, I think we could turn it on, verify our functions, put the truck in the park. Let me find the key here. Turn on ignition. All right, so we've got audio. Our steering wheel control, volume up and down, is already functional. Let me see if I can turn the lights on just so we could get it into night mode. But even then, I think it's not bright enough for the camera. All right, so let me turn it back off too. So steering wheel controls are already functional. Volume up and down. Volume up and down is all this one has. I don't see a like a track up and down. The rest controls the instrument cluster. Audio source is already working, so I'm going through the different audio sources right now. Back to FM. Next is gonna be to go into the home screen, hit the 4 squares, and we're gonna look for settings under car for climate controls. This one here, let me show you guys the AC control panel. So this one looks like all it has is a single temperature control and fan speed. So this is not a dual zone. I also don't see any heated seats, cooled seats, or anything like that on here. We do have the hazard switch was here. It's now here. Those are already functional. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna go to car. It looks like we have, let me kill this ant. So fan speed. So inside of car, if you wanted to switch it, then you would go to reset. So you're gonna go into here, the climate control that shows the little snowflake, and then you're going to select under Canvas select. Sorry, let's go back. So here under car, under Canvas select, you're going to select simple, go to Toyota cars, and you're going to find Tundra, 14 Tundra, and 14 Tundra high. High would be if this climate control had dual zone, factory heated and cooled seats. That's the one that you would select. But in this case, we're just gonna go to Tundra. It's gonna wanna confirm, hit confirm. The radio is gonna go back. And we now have our fan speed is already working. So is our temperature control, so temperature down. So even though it shows temperature for driver, temperature for passenger, let your customer know it's not like you now have dual zone temperature controls. It doesn't mean that. It just means that the passenger can also lower and raise the temperature accordingly. So keep that in mind, you guys. A lot of customers might think, oh, my passenger now has their own temperature controls. And the answer is no, because you didn't have that before. You're not going to have that now. So that's that. Other than that, I think that for the most part, the only other thing, and let me turn that off. So the only other thing to check for here at this point would be CarPlay connectivity. My phone's at my desk. If you want, I could go grab it, John. Do you want to go through CarPlay connectivity on this one? Sorry, guys. I just didn't want it to be interrupting me in the process of doing this. But I mean, if you guys have any questions, I mean, look, this is why I have I don't have a single long extension, one of these, a 1/4-inch extension. So I use a bunch of short ones taped. I tape them together because you have very limited room here so that you can stick this in there, and you know, your socket might get stuck in the process of you pulling it out. So you don't want it to, like, you know, come out and stay in there, because now your bolt is in there, your socket is in there. How do you get your socket back out? So basically what I would do is I would put tape on the edge of this socket here, and then I would use that. Yes, a magnetic one would be a lot better. My magnetic one doesn't fit through this hole. It's a little bulkier. So I would put some tape on my socket so that I could then, you know, go in there. But make it so that you don't grab too much of the bolt, because remember, once this bolt is tight and the tape is between the bolt and the subframe of the car, you still have to pull this out. You still have to pull this back out. And if your tape is caught and it's stuck, now you won't be able to pull it out. So you want to make sure you put enough to hold the bolt, so that once the bolt is in there and you pull this out, it'll very easily release from the bolt. So keep that in mind in the process of putting this one in. I mean, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir right now, but that's just sort of my way of doing an application like this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go here in the Bluetooth. I'm going to connect, and I'm going to come here to manage devices. It looks like it's already searching for Bluetooth devices. I'm going to search for Bluetooth devices on my phone. My name already came up, so I'm going to touch it. It says pairing. I'm going to wait for a response from the phone. So my phone is already up here. I've already touched it. It says pairing. It says it can't communicate with my phone for some reason. So let me just touch that again. And so it says you want to pair. So that, yes, pair here. Allow contacts on my phone. So my phone is already here in the list of paired devices. It looks like it's paired for CarPlay, phone, and music. So now when I go back to my home screen, I'm going to look for, in this case, I can hit phone link, or I could come in here and hit, what's the name of the app here? We're looking for phone link. There's another one. So yeah, sorry, just phone link right here. So touch that. So Apple CarPlay not enabled, enable it. So it says pair devices. So it's looking for my phone already. And this is all just self-explanatory, guys. I mean, it's all here. So it shows my phone is still connected to Bluetooth. Available devices. So let me select that device. So it's still just sort of spinning, waiting for. So phone book downloaded, available devices. There's my phone. Touch that one. It says pairing. My phone now says use CarPlay. Say yes. And so here is CarPlay now up and running. And so this is my YouTube Music. I subscribe to YouTube Music, so to launch that, there's my mapping. And it's already found me. Here we go. So wireless CarPlay, Android Auto should be exactly the same. I mean, if you've done, you know, any of our T-style radios or even the LITE version, I mean, guys, for me, you know, if I was looking for a large screen format with YouTube and everything else already on there, this would probably be my one of my favorite choices. But other than that, I mean, there's CarPlay. To go back to the home screen, right? So from CarPlay, if you notice, it's the entire screen from top to bottom. Swipe up from the bottom, and you're gonna get your home button here. That's gonna bring you back home. Or if you want to adjust climate while you're on CarPlay, then you can do stuff like this, where you can turn on the fan, hit the climate button there. You can adjust your climate controls and be good to go. But I'm telling you, This is definitely a really good choice for all of your customers that aren't very tech savvy. They want a large screen, affordable option. And so you hit the home button. Let me turn off the climate. So hit the power off, hit the home button. And then these are the apps that are preloaded in here. Hulu's already there. HBO Now is already there. Your Gmail is already there. Um, Google Maps is already there. Google Chrome is already there. YouTube, Netflix, Pluto TV, TikTok, Instagram. Um, they're all already here. The only thing you can't do with this is log into the Play Store so that you can then download additional applications. But for the most part, I'm happy with YouTube and CarPlay. Those are my two favorite applications. If you know me, I don't like to just listen to the music. I like to, watch it too. So other than that, there is one other application that I was going to show you guys. There is Foxit PDF. So a lot of your customers who go, oh, what about a manual for it? There's an app called Foxit PDF. And I believe this is a 54-page manual on this unit. So LinksWell LITE Tundra manual.pdf. And all you have to do is just touch it. And I mean, everything about this radio is in here. So table of contents, specifications on the radio, all the different harnessing. Yeah, this is a 54-page document that's going to help your customer learn how to use their new radio. So I know a lot of people like that. This is phenomenal for them to have. And so again, this is, steering wheel controls, AM, FM, and everything else is in here, guys. Remember, it has your RCA preamp outputs, obviously speaker level outputs, factory JBL, non-JBL systems, no problem. I mean, just the fact that you're not having to source for a dash kit, backup camera retention, steering wheel control retention module, it's all here. It's all plug and play. It's all in one kit. And to go from the factory radio to this, we didn't have to cut a single wire. It was all just plugs, really. So, I mean, unless we have any questions, I know John's going to edit this and chop it up and make it available for you to see it online. Other than that, I mean, once you put your 210s through here, you put your beauty caps back in place. Besides that, I mean, there's really nothing else to it. Anybody else have any questions? Did we, are we picking out a winner for the amp today, John, or? Right now? All right, let's find out who's gonna. Wait, hold on. Who's, okay. No, are you ready? All right, let's go ahead. Let's pick somebody. There you go. Sales at edwardsaudiogi.com. You just won yourself a 1,000 watt LinksWell amplifier. Congratulations. Thank you for tuning in. And keep in mind, we're going to have another training next month, John? Yep. So the plan is to do this on what week of the month? The second week? Third Thursday of every month. We're going to be doing something similar. We're going to touch on different subjects. If you want to see something different, let us know. Comment. Let us know if you want to see something else specifically. We'll be more than happy to go over that. And so our winner, sales at edwardsaudiogi.com, is going to receive an email, so you can send us your address. We will put that amp in the mail for you. Let us know what you think once you get it. If you want to take a picture of it, post it on your social media page and tag us. We'll be more than happy to. But again, guys, this is what we do here. This is who we are. We're here to provide support, solutions. We want to show you guys that obviously, we're putting our money where our mouth is, and we're guiding you through this process as well. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys next month.